Holy Lord! Welcome to the 1000 Comics Podcast. This is the 4th episode. Thank you for tuning in. We got a great show for you tonight. Oh my goodness, Chris Shepard is on the show tonight. What an interview I had with Chris Shepard. It was an amazing interview. We covered a lot of ground. He's a great young South Florida comic. He's been on the scene a couple years now, but his material is beyond. It's like someone who's been doing it for 10, 20 years. He's an intelligent individual. I gotta say, we did get into some religious territory in this episode, but it's nothing that a couple comedians can't handle. I mean, did you ever notice that white people, we all think we got religious names like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then we meet some Spanish people and they got names like Jesus and Angel? The Bible. How about the Bible, I always wondered how come Jesus didn't write anything himself, What was he, illiterate? How come there's no autobiography of Jesus? How come there's no book of Joseph, for that matter? I think there would be a lot in there about how Mary, he had a lot of doubts about Mary. He'd be like, "Dear diary, some supernatural being knocked up my wife. I don't know if I believe her, but she scares me." That's how I feel about Joseph. Anyways, we do get into some religious territory there in today's interview. Just beware of that. We have a lot of fun at the expense of Joel Osteen, so be prepared for that. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the guy. So what? So what if we make fun of Joel Osteen? The guy's a dick. Okay, so I'd just like to say that the 1000 Comics Podcast is looking for sponsors. If you'd like to sponsor the show, you can send an email to matthewheath.saga@gmail.com. That's Matthew Heath, SAGA@gmail.com. Until then, I'm pretty much sponsoring myself. If you'd like to listen to my comedy album, you could type into YouTube, Matt Heath Class Clown Revisited. That's the name of my comedy album. A lot of people have listened to it so far. I've been getting a lot of good feedback on my comedy album. Also, I wrote a play. I'm a playwright. If you'd like to go on Amazon.com, that's where the play is located, just type in the search bar Matt Heath and Renaissance Men will pop right up. Renaissance Men is the name of the play, and it is enjoyable, I'm telling you. Anyways, without further ado, this is my interview with the one, the only, Shepard-ding-dong, Chris Shepard. All right, welcome to the 1000 Comics Podcast. I'm sitting here with my guest today, Chris Shepard.
What's going on, man?
What's up? How you been?
I'm not bad, Just staying busy, keeping out of trouble.
You drove here from work.
I did.
Tell me about your job. What do you do in real life, Shep? I know you're a stand-up comedian, but what do you... I'm drinking a Highland. Shep brought over beers. High Lies. Good ones.
It's the High Life. I'm a paralegal during the day when I'm not out doing comedy. So basically, I just shuffle paper from one place to another.
You don't even need a degree to be a paralegal?
No, I have one, but I could have easily just walked into the job with no degree.
All right. And why was the traffic so bad coming over here?
I guess there was an accident. I don't know.
All right. No, the people don't want to hear about traffic. Shep.
How about the
Let's
weather?
talk about comedy. I want to talk about you, sir. When did you get started?
2 years ago. My first open mic was at Dada in Delray.
Dada's. That's an interesting room to start in because it's a tough room.
Yeah, well, it was perfect because there was nobody there, and that's exactly what I wanted for my first time. I went up second to last.
Right.
And there was basically nobody there except for my one friend that I brought. And I got to work through just being up there for the first time, you know.
What'd you do? Did you crowd work your first time, or
No,
or what?
I just did terrible bits. I used to have this bit about wiping my ass. I did that for the first and last time.
For the first and last time you did a bit about wiping your ass, because you have a bit now, or recently I've seen you do a bit about washing your ass in the shower. And
I've grown its depth. It's not just toilet paper anymore. Now it's relationships and ass.
The man has grown. As we can see, in the past 2 years, he started with wiping ass to a more intimate thing that involves the anal cavity, which is washing your ass
it's all
in the
ass
shower.
At the end of the day.
Oh Lord, this is a great forum for comedy. Us talking about the anal cavity.
Well, I mean, there's nothing funnier than a fart. And farts come out of your ass.
So it was bits. It was all bits that you focused on. Your first. What about being heckled? Did you get heckled at all in your early times of doing comedy?
Not for the first few times. Although my first time, I was second to last, like I said, and then the guy that went up last was somebody who's been doing it for a pretty long time.
Right.
And so his set, after he watched me go up, was kind of just saying, "Don't do this. Like, comedy is terrible. It's darkness and sadness." And me just sitting there smiling because I had just done it for the first time.
Do you remember who that comic was?
Yeah, it was Manny Garavito. I love him now, and he's done a lot.
He still does comedy, right?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's doing a lot for Miami, dude. But it was exactly like what a comic's advice would be that's been doing it for a little while is don't do comedy.
They try to steer people that are new away from comedy.
More like...
But honestly, it's strange. I can tell as someone who's been doing it for like 5 years, and the people that I see that are new to doing it, I could tell like within an instant, this person's going to start
really
doing it. They're going to really start doing it, or they're just trying it out. They're just they're just putting their. It's weird because it's like. When it comes to comedy and the people that aren't serious about it, it's so funny how bigger comedians, they'll get angry about like people say, "Oh, I do comedy," and they're like, "Wait, you're not really a comedian."
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, but those people only stay in the shallow end of the pool for so long. You can only have so much fun in the shallow end of the pool.
Yeah.
So let people have their fun in that shallow end of the pool.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never deferred anybody from trying stand-up comedy.
That's one of the things that I think is so great is that this is like the most accessible thing that there is. You know what I mean? It's not a band. You don't have to learn all the scales and chords. You can just go up there with a mic and try it for the first time. And that's what makes other comedians so accessible, too. Even the people that have been doing it for 15, 20 years, you can go up and have a conversation because they don't have, like, this megalomania complex because they've been doing it and they've been through it for 20 years.
Megalomania. Do you think all comedians have a megalomania complex?
There's a middle transition where you do have that, or like. I don't think early comics have it, and I don't think comics that have been doing it for a really long time have it because it breaks down. But somewhere in between that,
do I have the megalomania complex?
I don't think you have. I think some people may.
I think I do have the megalomania. I think the complex is just I'm really just starting to tap into what it is.
To your megalomania,
especially with doing a podcast and everything. I'm like, I gotta have my voice heard.
So
my voice needs to be heard.
It's not enough.
I need to take my mania and do something megalo with it.
I'm gonna put it on the internet. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see podcasts. Well, I have heard podcasts that I do think are like that. But I think podcasts, too, are just another way to express yourself comedically and artistically. It's like, you gotta have more outlets. You can't just do stand-up all the fucking time. There are people that do, and kudos, but I gotta have other shit to do. If I'm just doing mics every night of the week and that's all I do...
You need another creative outlet.
Yeah. You gotta filter that energy somewhere else, too.
And I think podcasts, in a sense, are the new comedy album. In a way. I think comics don't... Because it used to be comedy albums, but now that the internet it's constantly there.
Yeah.
People need to constantly see you or hear you
to know you exist.
In the world of the internet. So with a podcast, it's you're going to have constant creative output versus a finished product.
Yeah. And I mean, I know people specifically that do podcasts and it spawns bits for them. They're having a conversation and it's almost like you're talking to an audience.
You're right.
Because the mic is still on. Whether or not you know it, you're cognizant of the microphone.
Well, a podcast is virtually a sketch because it is a show in a sense, but we're not It's off the cusp, you know. There's different things going on,
and you want it to be entertaining.
Well, why? When did you first think like I'm a comedian? When did you know in your heart that you were a comedian? Because everyone that wants to say, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start doing it. I'm going to go and do start. That was 2 years ago. Yeah. But when did you realize that you were different?
Second time I did comedy. So I did Dada on Tuesday.
Right.
And then on Wednesday, I went to Funky Buddha. And all the planets aligned. I went up at a good time. There was a good crowd. And I had still what I hold to this day to be one of the best sets I've ever had. And it was my second time doing comedy. And the rush you get from comedy in general is crazy. But to go up so early and have a really good set, it was like an out-of-body experience, dude. And I was like, this is it.
So you didn't get the stage high the first time you did stand-up comedy?
I mean, I was a little nervous. Because I was just holding a microphone, but
Can I tell you something? The Dadas, I don't think I've ever felt the stage high in Dadas.
Yeah.
Now, I felt, it's weird, because it's like, you could have a great set and not experience the stage high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have that all the
time. You could kill a room, but never experience the stage high. Mm-hmm. And it's strange, because I don't think at Dada's I'll ever experience that. Yeah. It's just not that type of room.
It was sheerly because
it could be 100 people there just to see me, and I wouldn't feel that stage high in this place.
I mean, I think comedy, a lot of it is just chasing that dragon of those early highs. You know what I mean? That first time that you really have a good set. There's no other feeling like that in the world, dude. I mean, anything. I can't think of anything in my life that felt as good as having a good set on my second try. It was unbelievable.
What do your parents think of you doing comedy?
Honestly, I've done a lot of crazy shit. Normally, so what happens with me is I can't be interested in something without doing it.
Right.
You know, if I see something that I think looks cool, I'll watch it for a week and then I'll just throw myself at it. I mean, anything. Skateboarding. I watched a BMX video once and I was like, well, I'm going to do that, obviously, professionally. And then I went out and bought an expensive bike.
So, really monkey see, monkey do.
With everything.
With everything.
But this is the first thing where I've committed to it, I've done it, and I did it for more than a year. So they see it, and they take it like pretty seriously. They like it. I mean, they've only seen me twice, but you know, this is one of the first things where they are like really genuinely interested in how I'm doing in comedy.
What's it going to take for them to see you again? You got to be on Saturday Night Live or...
Honestly, I don't like when they're there. It makes me uncomfortable when they're there.
Well, my mother's passed on, but I know when my dad sees me do comedy, and he's seen me do it a few times.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't like being there.
They don't like it either, I can tell. They're there, but they're like, I'd rather not be here. You know what I mean? It's not uncomfortable for any of us, really. Nobody really likes it. It's just circumstances dictate sometimes they're there.
And I could have a great set, too. I could make it'd be like, it could be a great set. And then, like, my father was, like, looking at me like I'm embarrassed. I'm not just embarrassed of you. Yeah. I'm embarrassed for you.
Yeah, it's this... Well, it's this thing that I think it's, like, a lot of people don't... When you're in front of a crowd, they don't pick up on it, but somebody as close to you as, like, family, they know that you are, like, basically a clown. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, you're making yourself vulnerable in a way that they've never seen before, and it makes them really uncomfortable.
Because by extension, they're making themselves vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. They know you well enough to know when you're really putting yourself out there, and that makes them feel like crazy secondhand embarrassment.
A friend of mine, which comic used to do this bit? Corey Brown, back in Connecticut, man. He used to be one of the great Joker's Wild comics.
Yeah.
He used to do... I don't even know if he did it on stage, but he would always do this bit where he would just, like, walk out and go, I have dishonor my memory, and pretend to stab himself.
Was he actually Japanese?
No, he's a white guy. He'd go, I dishonor my memory, and stab himself with a samurai sword.
I love
that. That was his favorite thing to do.
Yeah. My first time that my parents saw me, I used to have this bit about if I could go back in time, I would go back in time and give myself a blowjob when I was like 13. And my parents at that point were like just devastated listening to their baby boy talk about sucking his own dick in the past.
It's weird because I think my father saw me. I don't even remember my material did but I do remember my aunts being in a crowd one time. No, one of my aunts, and I was like, I'm cool with all my material in front of her. I think she's gonna be okay with all of this, except for one bit. I had this bit about masturbating to the TV show I Dream of Jeannie.
There's always one. Yeah.
It was like when I used to get home from school, I would jerk off to I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
And I did not want to do the bit, the crowd. It was a big crowd. It might have been like a couple hundred people in the crowd, and I even said I paused. I said on stage, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this bit because my aunt's in the crowd, and I went, and then people were like, do the bit,
yeah,
and it was and it turned out to be even funnier, just to like lit my feelings about the bit.
Yeah.
You kind of, as long as you're honest on stage when your family's around.
I think that's
it. Yeah, if you can be really honest about the tension of having your family in the crowd, it makes it better.
Because the audience can weirdly feel that tension, even if you don't acknowledge it. It's in your voice, it's in your gestures. The first time I acknowledged it, and it went great because I mentioned them every once in a while. I told the joke about smoking weed that I used to do.
Right.
And I was like, thanks for paying for college, Mom and Dad. And then the second time they saw me, we were in Ohio, and I didn't acknowledge them at all, and it just felt so weird because everybody there knew that my parents were there, and just me telling all the same material without being like, hey, shout out to my parents in the back, it made everybody really uncomfortable, you know? It was like, this guy brought these old people, he's not going to talk about it?
Oh, all right. It's funny. You kind of like you almost had your parents like a footnote in the crowd.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting because I always try to make it like I don't want to embarrass them, and then I want to like make them feel like they're a part of the show.
Yes.
I feel like that's when if I have friends in the audience, like people that I've known for a long time, and then they if usually I gotta travel like a good distance to see me, and like, well, I gotta make them feel like they're a part of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's such a rare occurrence that my parents come that it's like, from now on, I mean, I learned my lesson. They've only seen me twice. The first time I acknowledged it, the second time I didn't. From now on, it's definitely getting a mention in every scene.
I doubt my father will ever come to see me do stand-up comedy again.
You gotta let him come out, man.
Well, no, that he's had like experienced some strokes, heart attacks, shit like that, and it's you know what, me doing stand-up comedy may be part of the reason that he went through all that. The stress of having a son as shitty as me.
I want a book written from the point of view of parents that have a son that's a stand-up comedian.
My dad, he's too fucked up to write a book.
That's perfect. I want all the bitterness of a parent of a stand-up comedian.
I would like to. We should call up your dad. We should have your dad on the show. I'd like to see the father of Chris Shepard.
It'd be amazing.
He's not disappointed though.
No.
You
I do other shit too.
You do well.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You do well for yourself.
Yeah. It's a lot of it is like I have to do other things. You know what I mean? Because I mean, if I threw all my eggs in the comedy basket.
Well, one of your other creative outlets is you wrote a pilot episode for a script, which I read and I loved. It's called One Long Night. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's a tentative. Yeah, but that was the quickest pun I could think of.
The night is spelled K-N-I-G-H, so it's a play on words. So is the way it's written, it just means a knight with a big dick. That's all it.
Yeah, I didn't even take that.
The literal. That's all it means.
It's just a knight with a huge dick.
But if you actually read it,
yeah,
but you hear the title and you go, oh, that's a show about a long.
Maybe that'll be a plot point later on that this guy has a giant dick.
I enjoyed your show. It's about a guy who is a nerd growing up, and then he discovers he wants to run a Renaissance fair.
He basically buys in medieval times.
He buys in medieval times.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not a Renaissance fair, a medieval times, which is better than a Renaissance fair because there's more weapons and all sorts of shit. Medieval times are cool, man. You ever see? I'm sure. I feel like the whole episode of the show is an extension of that scene in the Cable Guy,
absolutely.
Where it's like, why is there not like a whole show that's devoted
to just this scene?
To this scene, like people just acting nuts.
I know.
Acting in a medieval times.
Yeah.
But your twist on the show is great because it's a failing medieval time.
Yeah, it's going out of business.
The medieval times is going out of business
because it's not a sustainable business model at all. Yeah.
I would have loved it if we could have read some of the script on the show. Shep was not able to bring because he came straight from work. Was not able to bring a copy. I wasn't able. No, I'm more to blame because I had a copy. Chris Shepard actually printed out a copy for me to read and me to dissect with my comedic brain, and I don't have it. I apologize to all of you out there in podcast land.
It's alright, I'm working.
You know why I don't have it?
Huh?
The script for your pilot episode is in the bottom drawer of my desk in my classroom.
It's a sacred place.
And after I was fired from work, I was not able to return to my classroom to retrieve
your belongings.
My possessions. That's why there's no books in here.
Yeah.
All the books in my classroom are still there. My turntable, my vinyl, and Chris Shepard's script.
Hope that's
which is actually in a binder containing Riley Edwards' script for a movie. Now, I'm just hoping because I'm the type of guy is liberal. I don't think liberal is the right word for it. To just have a mind where possessions are fleeting.
Yeah.
Like I don't even because they did tell me I could return at some point if I called the school and said I need to go back there and get my stuff. Yeah. They would let me go.
Yeah.
but I don't want to have a bunch of shit to remind me that I worked there and had that job. I want to move on to something new.
No, I'm a firm believer in just purging your belongings in certain situations and just maybe you can get a new turntable, you can get new anything. I can print you.
I'm just hoping the kids get to enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
I hope just like maybe the person that fired me is using my fucking turntable. The principal is now using my turntable in his office. Yeah. That would fucking suck.
Yeah.
But if the kids get to enjoy that stuff and all my books in the classroom, like what do I want? I want my books back, the books that I put in that classroom intending for the children to read those books.
Yeah.
I don't want those books. I want the kids to read those books. Let them keep the books.
I hope that your principal is just sitting in front of a fireplace listening to your turntable reading Riley's script right now.
Reading Riley's script? Which is about... his script is crazy. His script is about fathers putting their children through beauty pageants.
Oh,
it's like
I want to read that.
It's crazy because I didn't even get a chance to read his because his is longer. His is a whole movie. Yours is a pilot episode. I was able to, the kids were taking a test. I was able to sit down and read, read your script. But Riley's was long. I had it sitting in that drawer, and
I gotta get a copy of that from him. I'm interested.
He's not going to give me another copy of it, I don't think.
You just made the one?
Yeah, you go through the whole trouble to print it out.
Yeah.
It's in a damn binder.
Yeah, it's like 150 pages.
The cover. There's a cover page with like crazy font on it and everything. You went through a lot of trouble to give me that script.
Here's my question: when you write something, let's say you write like a pilot, or you start to write a script. How do you know when it's going to be a movie or it's going to be a show? This is a big dilemma that I've had for a long time.
You have to go into it with the intentions.
I know, but it's like some of these ideas could easily be...
That's your first thought. I want to make a movie.
Yeah.
Or that's your first thought. I want to make a show. But here's the thing. I think here's where you get hung up.
Yeah.
You can't put too much importance on anything.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to it, really your writing is much like a possession, fleeting. Yeah. Something could happen with this, or maybe nothing will happen with this.
As far as writing is concerned, that's been a huge problem for me in the past because I've always hung on to ideas. You know what I mean? It's like I don't want to let something go, even if it's not necessarily the best idea I've ever had. I always feel like I can make it work out, but maybe the best move is to just keep moving on to the next idea.
Right. Well, but if you write something,
you'll
always have it.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about writing. Is like
forever.
you can keep your writing as long as you want.
Yeah.
That's why anything that I wrote, it's crazy. Anything that I wrote in that classroom, and where I couldn't go get my stuff back because they asked me to exit the building. All of my writing, I have it. Yeah. I backed it up. I emailed it to myself, put it on a zip drive. Anything that I own creatively, I still have.
Yeah.
It's not a book, like it's not like the possessions that I once had. It's interesting, right? Because you hold that stuff because you're writing, you hold it close to you, right?
Yeah,
you would say.
I mean, that becomes your bait. I mean, you work on something for a month, 2 months, a year. You hold it in high regard because you spent so much time developing the ideas and.
So am I contradicting myself here, Shep? Because I just said don't put too much importance on anything.
But it does. It's putting importance on it because it's your ideas and it's important to you, and you need to understand that this matters, but at the same time not understanding that it matters to nobody else. You know what I mean? For a while, it matters the most to you.
So I would say you got to hold your writing close to you because you got to put yourself first.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't put too much importance on it. Yes. Once you start putting too much importance on something, that's when it's like
You'll be devastated, dude.
You try to keep it to yourself too much.
Yeah. You don't want to share it with anybody. I've been there. I've done other types of art. I used to try to sing in bands, and I was too nervous to write lyrics and to like really dig deep and reveal it because I would have been with a group of people who were judging the things that I was doing. And so I kept everything in, and it ended up being really bad to me and having negative effects.
Right.
Because my art wasn't getting out. It was bullshit.
Okay, so as a stand-up comedian, you go and tell jokes. You're not worried that the people in the audience are going to steal your jokes, right? Yeah, exactly. But you write a script.
That's a whole other thing.
And, but at the same time, is there anyone initially you would have a problem with reading your script? Let's say, it's just for example, any person that walks into my classroom and opens that drawer could attend and, be reading your script. Do you care?
I would have no problem with that, I think.
Even if it's a person that's like, I'm going to go
make this movie. I'm going to get the Teamsters, and we're going to make a film. No, I wouldn't care. Because, I don't know. Because I like the idea. I think the more that I like an idea and the more that I've developed it, the less I care in a way, if that makes sense. Because I believe in that project. And if somebody else read it, so I have poems in my room that I wrote in middle school. I would be uncomfortable with anybody reading that because I don't believe in those ideas anymore.
Okay, yeah. But it's something. It's weird because you hold it close.
Yes.
To
very
yourself.
Close to me, yeah.
But you, at the same time, it's like that's not even something I believe in.
That's not me anymore, exactly.
But it's you still hold on to it because you like the idea of the old you. Sometimes you want to refer back to the old you.
And I do. I read them sometimes. I'm just thinking where I came from and where I'm at now. So the closer I am to a creative idea, the more comfortable I am with expressing it to other people. And the more distance that passes, the more I'm like, I don't want anybody to read this shit. I was 16.
All right, I got something I want you to read. Is that okay with you? Yeah. I wrote a comedy sketch specifically for us to do on this podcast.
Yeah.
Would you be down?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to pull it up right now on the computer, and you can read the computer. I'll read the handwritten, and you are the man in the sketch. I'm the other guy. Grab another beer. Wait, are you gonna grab one of the Love Streets or a High Life?
Do you want a High Life or a Love Street?
I'm not even close to being finished with this.
All right. What part am I reading?
You are the other guy. No, I'm the other guy. You're the man. All right.
Okay. What's my tone? Set the scene.
All right, I'm setting the scene right now. It's all in the beginning. All right. It's the name of the sketch is Dog Park. All right, Dog Park. A man and his wife are at the dog park. The couple owns a small dog that the man had no interest in getting in the first place. The couple's dog is suddenly attacked by a much larger dog. The couple's dog appears to be hurt. The wife badgers the husband to confront the man that owns the other dog until he does so.
Okay. And I'm man?
You're the man.
Hey, man!
What the fuck do you want?
Well, how about an apology first?
Apology for what?
My dog could really be hurt, man. Your dog's a beast out there.
That ain't no fucking dog. That's a rat.
It is a dog. It's got a name, too. It's Blanche. Now I might have to take Blanche to the goddamn vet.
Do yourself a favor, bud. Take that fucking rat outside and shoot it.
Hey, bro, listen, man. I haven't been laid to my wife in 3 months. If you apologize to her, I'll buy you a 6-pack of Colt 45 right now.
Deal. That's the whole sketch. I think you were playing your guy a little too aggressive.
Was a little hot.
Your guy was a little too aggressive because he doesn't really care.
The tone should have started. Hey
man, can we do this again? Let me be the guy. You be the other guy now.
Okay.
I'll be the man.
Okay, I'll be. You want me to keep the same level of aggression with other guy?
Yeah, you can play it how I played it, but you could really do okay. So let's set the scene again. A man and his wife. Now I'm the man, and I'm the one with the wife. Are at the dog park. The couple owns a small dog. The man had no interest in ever getting, so he doesn't care. It's a little. He knows it's a little rat dog. He hates. Yeah. In fact, yes, I would go as far to say he hates this little dog. That's all it fucking does, right? All right. The couple's dog is suddenly attacked. Yeah. So that's where we're at. The dog's attacked. The couple's dog appears to be hurt. Okay, so everybody loves dogs, all right? It's a small dog, big dog. The dog's hurt. You're gonna be sad. The wife badgers the husband to go confront the man that owns the other. All right. I'll go do it. I don't care about this dog. I don't really care about you that much. But I'll do it because he's set in his ways. All right, hey man,
the fuck do you want?
Well, first off, how about an apology?
Apology for what?
My dog could be really hurt. Your dog's a beast out there, man.
Brutus didn't do nothing. Besides, your dog ain't even a dog. He's a fucking rat.
It is too a dog. And it has a name too. It's Blanche. And I might have to take Blanche to the vet now.
Listen, buddy, do yourself a favor. Take that fucking rat out back and shoot the fucking thing.
Hey, man, listen. I haven't been laid by my wife in over 3 months. If you go apologize to her, I'll buy you a 6-pack of Colt 45.
Listen, buddy, you got yourself a deal.
All right. Yeah, okay. I think that was the sketch was a little miscast. I think you're better as the other guy.
The aggressive guy.
The aggressive guy. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was envisioning it being a lot funnier than when I was writing it.
I transitioned to a very deep New York accent about 3/4 into it.
The interesting thing is because I wrote that little bit because of something that actually happened to me. I was on it wasn't like it was a wife of mine, but I was on like a second or third date at a dog park.
Yeah.
And the girl's dog gets attacked by another dog. And I'm like, well,
it's not a kid. I don't know what to do here. Yeah.
But then you're like, because I had a dog when I was younger, but I never thought about taking it to a dog park. You know, like dog parks, I feel like are like they're like prison yards for dogs. You know,
what is a weirder thing because you're trusting everybody in there with their sketchy dogs.
Oh yeah, really the dog though that the girl had was like the cutest dog.
Yeah,
and it was like a Dalmatian. And it was such a sweet dog. But the dog that attacked the other dog
it's just an asshole.
Was like, yo. Yeah, like, but it's weird because the girl I was with was like, that dog is so cute. The dog that was about to attack her dog. And it's like, look at how it's got like 2 different color eyes. And I was like, look at it. Like, I was like, this dog's got a fucking problem.
Look how it's about to kill your dog.
This dog attacked the fucking girl's dog. And I'm just like, all right, we haven't even seen each other that long. I'm like, all these things are running through my head, and like, I finally say something like, that dog was a fucking bully.
Yeah, this dog's gonna be bleeding out in the back of the car.
But it wasn't a guy that owned the dog. It was like a girl. She was like real apologetic about it. I could only imagine, like, what if it was like a guy that brings his dog to the dog park and just his dog just fucks up all the other dogs and he doesn't give a shit.
I could see that happening so easily. Just a guy with like a really jacked dog that he's just inbred as fuck, and he just brings it to the dog park, and then he's super like, I don't fucking.
It's one of those pit bulls that you think like could do like push-ups and shit.
Yeah, those are insane.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I swallowed that wrong.
Shep's having a little issue right now. He's having a blonde nail that went down the wrong pipe.
Oh, good.
All right. I think this is when we start to get into deep conversation.
Oh, okay. I thought we already did that. Let's get deeper.
No, let's get even deeper. Like, do you believe in God? That kind of stuff.
That's a good question. It's difficult. I grew up Catholic, so most of my early life there was a heavy belief in God.
I also grew up Catholic.
Yeah, it's ingrained in you.
The interesting thing about Catholics is we don't really go to church that much. Did you go to church that much when you were a kid?
Well, yeah, I went to church every Sunday until
Every Sunday
until I was about 18.
Okay. Did you?
So I did a lot.
You did
of
the
church.
First Communion.
I did everything.
I did
the confirmation.
Confirmation.
Yeah.
I didn't do confirmation. That's when I kind of like
tapered off.
Because my parents were eventually like, well, I can't fucking control the fucking kid.
Yeah.
Like, what is he gonna like? I didn't get confirmed. All right, all you holy men out there.
Yeah.
I'm not confirmed. I'm willing to, I guess. Can you at this age? It doesn't matter.
You can do whatever you want. You want to
get because when you get a little bit older, you start to realize that like the way I feel is like all paths are like a path to enlightenment. So what difference does it really make?
How you're being enlightened?
Confirmed or not?
Yeah. It's a label on something that is not really.
All right, so confirmation. When did you decided you wanted it? Because it's ultimately your decision. You
at that point I was still involved in the church. I mean, I went to church until I was older. Just basically just make my parents happy. Like, I love my mom and dad, and I think that it gave me a good foundation being in that community early on. But looking back, I was never really that interested in it later in my life.
It's weird. It's like you gotta. Some people go to church. They go to church for themselves, but other people go to the church for other community.
People. Yeah,
they go to church for other people.
Yeah, I know a lot of people.
There's no other person that it's like want me to be here at this church.
Yeah. I have this woman that
what do I need to be here for?
This woman I used to work with. She would talk about her church and how the Miami Dolphins went there. And I was like, that's not what church is supposed to be. If she came in and she was like, yo, my church is so holy, I got so much God and Jesus in my church, but instead she comes in and she's like, yeah, the whole Miami Dolphins goes to my church. We went to a barbecue at their house. I'm like, that's not what this is. It's not religion. You're not finding enlightenment. You're finding people to build your status in a church. It's very strange.
Well, that's the thing about Florida, man, because they got these, like, mega churches down here.
Yeah.
And it's weird because they are siphoning money.
Oh, it's insane.
People are getting rich off the churches down here. Look at a guy like Joel Osteen, who, can I mention, this is my first time talking about Joel Osteen on the podcast. Good. I think he's a fucking asshole.
Oh, he's a huge piece of shit.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Fuck this guy. Yeah. And it's weird because I thought like everybody assume felt the same way about
Joel Osteen?
Until I moved down here to Florida. And I went into my sister's bathroom and she's got a Joel Osteen book like sitting on the back of the toilet. I'm like, people are being brainwashed, basically.
Yeah.
Just because because all these motherfuckers that stand behind the Bible and then pitch their own easy answers just because they're using the Bible as reference.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
It's insane. I know.
That's not the right thing to do at all.
Yeah. And if you look at the distribution of wealth with what like Joel Osteen is making versus what he's giving back, disparity. He's living in these multi-million-dollar mansions.
Well, look at that last hurricane that we had.
Did he donate a penny?
And I I think he refused people access to the church.
Yeah.
That didn't have
that
power.
were seeking shelter. Yeah.
Wow.
That happened. Yeah.
That's a real
What a
religious guy.
place of God in that place. Yeah. So I think a lot of that kind of stuff, specifically going to church down here, turned me off to church a little bit. I also had a weird experience. One time,
Touched by a priest?
Yeah, no.
Touched by an angel?
Yeah. His name was Angel. I went to church in Miami.
It was, they got Catholic. They probably have Catholic
absolutely.
churches with dudes named Angel.
Father Angel.
right down the street, in fact.
Now, I was in church one time. This is when I was still like super into religion, and I was dating this girl in high school. And I was like, "Come to my church." Not a great idea for a date, but it was fine. And we're in church, and we're sort of like holding each other in church. It's not a big deal.
You're holding each other.
We're holding hands. We're just sitting by each other. In the
You
middle
got
of
your arm around her?
Yeah.
You got your hand up her dress?
No.
Okay. I'm just checking because
it's pretty polite.
There's a line.
I'm
There's
not
a line in church.
I'm not finger banging my girlfriend.
You can't be getting too cuddly in church now.
Yeah.
All right.
It was very polite, and then in the middle of his sermon, he interrupted to say, "I wanted to remind you all, this is not a park. If you want to hold your lover, you can go somewhere else." And then he pointed to us in the back, and the entire church turned and looked at us. And it was one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever felt in my life. And at that point, I was like, well, I'm done with this shit. This guy's a fucking dick. Like, if guys like that are going to do shit like this, I'm out. I don't need any part of this.
Because you were expressing love.
Yes. It was very...
And it was a very
innocent. I was
way
16.
Of expressing your love.
Yep.
Did you have a boner?
Nope. Just hanging out. Super no
All right, you can be honest.
No, there was no boner involved, man.
Shit.
What's crazy is that was before communion. I still took communion. And then I left that church. That's how much into it I was at the time. I waited until I did communion.
But I think that's the problem with church in general. It's one bad experience with one person.
I know.
And you got to remember, churches are run by human beings.
Well, that's why I don't believe in institutes of religion. I believe you can find your own spirituality. You don't need church to find God. If God is what you're seeking, or any kind of enlightenment, you can find it on your own. I think people will use it to facilitate that. Maybe there's some people that can't, It's good to draw people in, and I think it served its purpose for me going for 18, 20 years. To understand that I can find a connection to whatever spirituality I wanted.
But put the rewind button on this just for a moment. You gotta put yourself in that priest's shoes.
Yeah.
That called you out for just being close, holding hands, having your arm around your girl. Put yourself in the priest's shoes.
Yeah.
That guy hasn't been laid in years.
Maybe.
Possibly has never been laid.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So... Can you really get mad at what he told you?
Yeah.
You can. You can still be upset because he embarrassed you.
Everybody else out here's fucking. It doesn't work out for you, dude, but you picked this. I understand that. You picked celibacy. You signed a thing saying, I will not have sex with anybody. And whether you told that, I don't know. But you signed yourself away. It's like booking a one-way trip to Mars. You sign this thing saying, I'm going there, I'm never coming back to this reality, but sex. So it's like, I'm going there, and that's it. I can't have sex again.
Yeah, it's gotta be hard to be
fucking ridiculous.
Brands, I don't understand.
It doesn't make any... they're trying to make it now so that they can have
sometimes,
sex.
though, I think that, people that become priests... do it a lot of them do it because they felt like they had no other option. It's like joining the army or something,
It's crazy. There's so many other options. But, I mean, I could never... Just, it doesn't make... A straight male priest? Are you fucking kidding me? It's so ridiculous.
A straight man... But there are priests that are married, too.
Nah. You're not allowed to be married in the Catholic
Not
Church.
in the Catholic Church.
In the
That's
Christian
the thing, because we
church,
both grew up Catholic.
Yes.
We just saw dudes all the time.
That's all there was.
There was just men.
Unmarried single dudes that can't have sex.
Men.
That's
who then, like, years later, we all watched that movie with Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And, Spotlight. Yeah. And he exposes, like, fucking that there's literally, like, 100
like a network
of these guys that touch kids.
That are doing that,
And we grew up learning this.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up accepting this as a faith.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fucked up, dude. I know. I don't think we realized it when we were younger either. Now that we look back, it's easy to be like, all those men were single that whole time. Those young priests didn't have anybody. Can you imagine you or me right now just signing a thing saying that I will never have sex or marry?
Here's the thing. I was never touched by a priest, and I think this is the reason why.
Yeah.
I was always told by my parents to go to Sunday school.
Yep.
But I never went to church.
Yeah.
They didn't care if I went to church.
Yeah.
They said an hour of Sunday school is equal to an hour of church,
which is,
in our opinion.
Sense. Yeah.
And it's just other kids there, and it's a lot of times it's taught by a parent. It's not even taught by a priest.
Yeah.
And we would basically just have discussions about religion. You know?
I went to something similar. It was so in order to get your communion at the church that I went to.
But here's the thing. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Before you go off with yours, the kids that were in my religious education class, the other guys, are gay guys now.
Yeah.
None of them are straight guys.
Yeah.
They are openly homosexual men.
Yeah.
And they did have to go to church every week and Sunday school. I only went to Sunday school. Who's to say that they weren't touched by priests?
And that sort of molded their consciousness to being... That's the whole discussion, is it? Well, you get to nature versus nurture. You know what I mean? When it comes to something like that, some of your early sexual experiences absolutely influence how you're going to be in your life. But is that in your brain the whole time? It gets real dicey. You know what I mean? It's like... there's a lot of people that have weird fetishes, for example. I'm not equating homosexuality to a fetish at all.
Right.
But somebody will experience something weird early on with, let's say, leather.
Right.
And then as they get older, the only way that they can fucking get off is if they experience leather. It's like...
Is that why leather is included in bondage and shit like that? I don't know.
For a lot of people, everybody has their own weird shit.
I did date one chick at once that was she was like in the
BDSM.
I don't know if I call her a dominatrix. She would go to like this like fucking thing like all the time where she'd get like whipped by other women and shit. Like she was like a...
It's like a sub-dom
BDSM dominatrix, I guess. But then like I was like kind of worried about hooking up with her, and I'm like, well, she's like, well, we could just have regular sex. I was like, we can.
Yeah, but in the back of your mind, like you realize that that's not ever gonna cut it for her. Like she likes what she likes.
That's true.
You know,
she was wild though.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
So, what were you getting at?
I was just saying that, I mean, eventually I moved away. You get tired of it. You know, you realize, okay, no, I was saying, I also went to I went to an hour of church every week, but then I also went to something that they called CCD, which was...
that's a religious education class. They stopped calling it CCD after a while. I don't know what happened.
I went to that, and that was like sort of the start where I was like, I'm done with this too. Is because that was just taught by somebody that was at the church. That was just taught by a random person. It wasn't a priest. It wasn't a nun. It was just a person that went to the church. And I would get into discussions with them, and they wouldn't be able to answer my questions. And I was like, this is very frustrating. Instead of answering my questions, they would say things like, "Get out of the class, leave now, like stop. We're not going to go into this." I had a teacher one time. She said the Christians were more persecuted than the Jews in history. And I just like went in on her. I was like, can you please elaborate on that? I need you to evolve that idea a little bit more because that's insane. Like, tell me about it. Tell me how the Christians were more persecuted than the Jews. And she wouldn't let it go, and I kept saying, tell me, tell me, tell me. And eventually she was like, if you don't stop asking that question, I'm going to kick you out of class. And I was like, this isn't a place, bless you. I was like, this isn't a place for ideas. This is a place for you to try to implant in me what I should be in the future.
She's like, well, just go be Jewish if you want.
Yeah.
That was basically what she was like.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
But, I don't know. I remember being able to, where it's like that Carlin bit where, because he grew up Catholic, and he's like, I used to just love asking the priest questions, like, could, God heat up, or lift a rock, so and make a rock so big that he himself couldn't lift it, stuff like that. And those were the kind of questions, that's what kind of kept me going with religion. But it's weird, when I kind of stepped away from religion and I went back and I actually did go to church, I remember it was like I just went to church once because I'm like, maybe I just want to feel like enlightened.
Yeah, just get a taste.
Like just to go back, and I went in one day, a Sunday morning, and it was the whole sermon was about how people should join the army. He wanted people to like join the army because Muslims are bad. And we are like these like Christian crusaders, like correcting what's going on in the Middle East.
It's crazy.
And I was like, wow, not only do I not want to go to church, now I also never want to join the army because this is what people actually think.
Yeah. No, it's fucked up. That's why I always say you can find God by yourself. You don't need corrupt people in institutions. You don't need Joel Osteen. You don't need somebody that's making just ridiculous astronomical amounts of money living in mansions to tell you how to find God. If you want God, you can find God. And
what do you believe now?
I'm agnostic.
Agnostic.
Yeah, it's because you can't say there's nothing. I find atheists just as repugnant as Jehovah's Witnesses sometimes. It's like, you have to understand that there's something, right? We don't, until they understand what existed before the Big Bang,
right?
I will always be agnostic. Because at some point, nothing existed. And that blows my fucking mind. There was just nothing. What was there? It's fucking crazy.
Is that true, though? You think that nothing existed at one point?
Nothing had to exist at one point. What happened before the Big Bang, before the universe
Maybe there was always something, though. Shit. If you're agnostic, you can't say that there's definitely nothing that existed at one point. Maybe there was always something, and that you gotta take that into consideration if you're agnostic.
There can't be always something, because we know that the universe is still growing at 33,000 kilometers a second. We know that it's expanding.
Okay.
So before something can expand, it has to exist at a nothingness. There's always something before something.
But
the chicken or the egg.
Something I always pondered in science class when it just comes to measurements, because you got an inch, then you got like a centimeter, then you got millimeters, and then you got it's just like you can always keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. But can you get small enough until there's nothing? Yeah. Because maybe you can't. Maybe it's just
this is the burning question that keeps me agnostic. How small was everything before it expanded into everything that exists? Because we've proven that it's growing.
Right.
So where did it start is my whole thing. That's what keeps me guessing. And I think agnostic is sort of a curious point of view. That's why I consider myself somebody that's curious about it, but not decisive. I don't know at the end of the day, but I don't know. I'll believe anything. All
right. I think we're getting to for the last 5 minutes of the show. You want to get back to comedy? You want to? Is there anything you want to talk about?
Whatever you want.
Anything you want to promote?
I have shows coming up. When does this come out?
It should be coming out in a couple days. So if you got shows you'd like to promote,
I will be at Swampgrass Willie's on Thursday, June 14th.
June 14th, Swampgrass Willie's.
I will be at the House of Kava in Miami, June 15th.
House of Kava, June 15th.
I will be at the Station in West Palm on June 22nd.
The Station in West Palm on June 22nd. Chris Shepard will be.
Funky Buddha, Saturday, June 23rd in Boca. That's what I got going on.
That's some good stuff, Shep.
Man, yeah, it was like... So I'm going away at the end of June for a few days.
Right.
I decided I just want to do as much as I possibly can in June, because it's been a while since I really, like...
Almost doing like a mini tour.
Yeah, I tried to get as many shows as I possibly could in, just to see what I could do. And it worked out, because I don't call in a lot of favors. So...
I dig it.
When I wait, it makes it worth it for a month where I have, like, a bunch of shows. It's fun.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add, or do you feel like we've said everything? I feel like we had some great conversation here, though. No?
Yeah, we covered all the scales. We talked about comedy and God. It's pretty deep. We got pretty deep about God.
This is a hip podcast here on Shep. This is the new coming of age. There's going to be a little cartoon version of you. Have you listened to the podcast yet?
No, not yet.
Shep he's on the podcast.
You only have one episode. There's two episodes. I'm sorry.
There's 2 episodes.
I'm sorry, I was mistaken.
But you will be. We'll see. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for having me, buddy.
Hi, this is Joel Osteen, and I'm just here to say I like smiling. I like sunsets. I like flowers. And I love Jesus. And if you're in trouble out there, well, I have a man who's in trouble right here. His name is Chris Shepard.
Well, Joel, it's been really hard to enjoy sunsets and flowers and smiling since my wife died of the chlamydia that I gave her. And I don't know what to do with myself. I'm beside myself with sadness.
Well, my child, chlamydia is the devil. And you know what the opposite of the devil is? The Lord Jesus Christ. Now, if you just pay me $300 and sign up with this program here, I can help you be a little bit better. You'll get the Lord Jesus Christ back into your heart.
Well, Joe, that sounds great. I sure was gonna spend that money on my wife's funeral, but instead I could give you the money, and maybe I could smell flowers again, and I could smile and look at sunsets and be happy, and my children won't know that I killed my wife with my dirty ass chlamydia.